G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today I'm out at the Red Centre, spiritual heart of Australia, Uluru, which you can see behind me there. Now I'm out here to experience a brand new cultural experience out here called Sunrise Journeys. And it's early in the morning. I've just been at sunrise watching this amazing piece of art they've put together. The Aṉangu people have put together, the Aṉangu have put together to showcase the oldest known civilization and culture in the world. And we're going to dive right in with my review and a bit of a philosophical deep dive into how important it is, I think, for everyone to be out here and to experience it for themselves. Let's dive in.
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
Yes!
Dad, I'm hungry.
So let's start with the actual experience itself, and it is an experience. So for me today, which is what date I'll be? Very end of July. So it's one of the periods where you'll be able to wake up the latest to be involved in this. So in the hotter months, it's obviously the sun's going to rise a bit earlier. You have to get up a bit earlier. They stagger the time that the sunrise journeys happens to basically, obviously, with the sunrise coming up over Uluru. So for me, it was getting up at 5 o'clock this morning and making my way to the front. I was in the Desert Gardens Hotel, which I'll do a separate review on that if you want to stay tuned to the channel, and get picked up by the bus. It was chilly. It was a single, lonely, solitary 1 degree. And I did my best to rug up, but gloves, I highly recommend gloves. I didn't have any gloves. And so it's pitch dark, and there was quite a group, like almost a busload of us, ready and raring to go. And it's not a long drive, and maybe 5 minutes, somewhere between 5 and 10 minute drive, and you're out there. And they've got it all beautifully lit up. They've done such a wonderful job. The Voyages and obviously the Aṉangu have done such a great job with all the installations out here, just making it feel really organic, really part of the land, but also the lighting and everything, like the reds. It's just so well done, so well thought out. So you kind of walk up this long ramp, and you come up to this amphitheatre, and they've got a whole bunch of hot drinks waiting for you. So I had lemon myrtle tea. So it's like, a lot of the stuff you'll eat and the experiences around here is very, very based around ingredients, like local indigenous ingredients from the land. Even if it's just subtle twists on things that you might know from just eating back at home. But they all provide this really unique flavour, and it's very subtle. Nothing's in your face, but it's delicious and beautiful. So this big kind of, I'm pretty sure it was lemon myrtle tea, clasping that in your hand, just trying to get the heat into your hands, and a muffin. I'm so bummed I can't remember the what was in the muffin, but it was delicious. So you're sitting there and you're milling around, you're talking to people, and you can just see this kind of glow just starting to come up right on the horizon. And the sun rises at different times of the year in different places. So in winter, it kind of rises, this way, so not quite behind the rock. But then in summer, it's more over the rock. So it was really interesting. I'll go into this a little bit more after I explain the show, but it was interesting talking to the guy there who was behind kind of putting the production together about the impact that where the sun rises, what time it rises, whether it's cloudy, whether there's a full moon, all that type of stuff, how it plays on the way that the show plays out. Very interesting, and it means that depending on when you come here, it's going to be a very different experience for you. But it's so sensory, it's so dry that you can't see your breath, even though it's 1 degree, and it's so crisp, and you can the native plants that they've got even back at the hotel and around just kind of fills your senses. You're already on this magnificent natural sensory experience before the show even begins. And eventually you kind of take your seats in this amphitheatre. There's plenty of space. and there's little blankets you can put over your lap and kind of huddle together a little bit. And then the show begins, and it's narrated, and there's this, I think it's Jeremey Whiskey's the man behind it, soundtrack. So all kind of indigenous First Nations creations, right? And then what they've done is they've taken local art by locals, artists, and then high digitally scanned it, and then basically on a pixel level pulled out all of the art and then put it into laser form, and with projectors and lasers, and then they project that against the trees and the spin effects, and it's quite green at the moment, as you can probably see behind me, because they've had quite a bit of rain out here. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes when in dry seasons and stuff. And it's kind of projected and lasered against like some of the trees right as the sun's kind of coming up, and it tells a story about the connection of the Aṉangu with the land, and the traditional culture of living off the land, and how they've survived here for so many thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Like I think 30,000 that they know about, but that they can scientifically show, but potentially as long as 60,000 years, like here, in the middle of this stunning environment, but testing environment. So there's a tale told behind the art, narrated behind the art. You've got this music playing in the background as well, and then you've got the actual location. So the sun kind of creeps up, and the sky changes to all these magnificent colours, and those magnificent colours are kind of replicated in many ways by the light show that's going on. And it's not still art. It's like they've animated the art through projection, but also, like the birds from the art will fly in the trees, and it's so well done. It's so well done, and I really enjoyed the experience. I mean, if you're going to come out here, you're going to want to watch sunrise, and there's lots of lovely places you can do it. There's a fantastic platform you can go down to that's closer to Uluru, which kind of looks at the sunrise from a different direction. And that's spectacular, and you watch Uluru change colours as it comes up, and then seeing it through this vantage point, but also through the art, like the art's in front of you as you're watching it come up over Uluru, is it turns the landscape into the canvas in such a magical way. It's quite emotional. In fact, there were people crying, so it's really worth doing. The show doesn't go for too long, and potentially that's the one part of it that you just wish for. You just long that there was more to it, or another story to tell, and maybe that'll come in future years. Like today was literally the opening day, the very first time it was shown publicly. But I love the way that it ends, and the light show does the same thing. It basically it comes to an end, and then there's just silence, and you just kind of watch the sunrise, and it's just this really thought out moment of just, they use the word mindfulness at one point, and I think that's a good word for it, but it's just this moment of reflection and an ability to just kind of soak it all in, and everyone just sits there silently, because everyone's in the same place, just kind of absorbing it. And then after a little while, some people sat there for minutes. You can get up and walk to the back, and they've got like a bar kitchenette area set up there, and you can eat some, they're walking around with like kind of bacon and egg sliders, and kangaroo croissants with kangaroo meat in them are delicious. And then there was local, like it was a coconut something pudding, and pastries and things like that. So little bits and pieces around, as well as coffee and hot chocolate, and so there's something for the kids, and there's a few bits and pieces like that to have like an indigenous native style breakfast experience. It's obviously, it's not how traditionally people would have eaten, but to try and kind of give a bit of that flavour and just kind of add to the experience as well. So you do get to have breakfast as well as part of the experience. And by this stage, the sun's decently up, and you can kind of take a whole bunch of different, pictures and soak it up in a whole other way once that kind of sun's right up. and the show itself's kind of come to an end. It'll be really interesting to see how this experience evolves over the course of a year, when the sun's in different places, when there's different weather conditions, when the backdrop is redder than it is right now because it's very green, as I mentioned at the moment. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that unfolds. I'd love to hear other people with some comments in here who have come at different times of the year, just to say how their experience may or may not have varied from mine. It does mean that in some way, as small as it might be, everyone's going to have a pretty unique experience, I think, out here, both personally, internally in a way that they emotionally engage with it, but also in terms of the actual tangible physicality of it. So that's the show. That's Sunrise Journeys, and I highly recommend it. But it's not the only thing out here I highly recommend. I'm going to do some more video content, so keep an eye on the channel. There's a few experiences I've done over here. I've been out here 3 times, and I'm going a bit of a personal journey of discovery here, because my initial experience here was to climb, because that's what you did. You came out to the centre to climb the rock. It wasn't about the culture. It was about conquering Uluru. And I certainly didn't. I don't think people came out here to be culturally insensitive. It's just that was the story that was told. That was to us white blokes back in the city, was, there's all these cool things you can do in Australia, and one of them, you go snorkel the Barrier Reef, and you go down and hike over Tassie, and one of the things you do is you come and you climb the rock, and you've done this momentous thing. And then now that's the 3rd time I've been out here, and climbing the rock's no longer a thing. It hasn't been now for 5 years. And at first I was like, well, okay, we'll come out and do some hikes. I'll go, see, Kaltukatjara's over there. You've got Kings Canyon. Uluru is still this phenomenally powerful natural wonder that really connects with you in some mystical way, that's really hard to describe, but other than actually being out here and doing it. But then coming out here, this trip in particular, and just talking to a lot of the locals, talking to the guys that are behind a lot of the experiences out here, talking to some of the local indigenous people, and just kind of experiencing things like this show, Sunrise Journeys. And there's the drone show, which I won't say. It's Ngura Waru, I think. I just don't want to say it wrong. I keep forgetting it. And doing the Mala walk, and understanding the Aṉangu's cultural connection to this place, and why. It was never really expressed to me why. And doing these shows, doing these experiences, and talking to them and understanding why has really changed my whole entire perception of why you would come out here. And it makes me feel angry and frustrated that I wasn't given the opportunity to learn this stuff when I was younger. It just wasn't part of our education system. And it's just... it's like I'm catching up. So for reasons like that, I think it's really important for everyone to get out here. If you can do it and experience it. And there's ways to do it. You can stay in the camping ground here. There's the Outback Pioneer Hotel. It's like you can stay in basically dorms. I did that with my son when I came out here. We just slept on the dorm beds. And then there's like 5 stars and stuff like that. Depending on how much money, you don't have to spend a lot of money once you're here. There's an IGA, it doesn't have to be this big expense. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. So everyone, you can make it happen. And you can come out here and bask in the power of this place. And understand about the traditional owners of our land in a really meaningful way. So, Sunrise Journeys, as a review, it's really powerful, and it's really well done, and it's really tasteful, and it's really connected. And if you luck out like we did with the weather, even if it was 1 degree, I can't imagine it's an experience that you will forget anytime soon. And obviously you won't come out here just for that. So there's so much more you can do. The light show, the drone show is phenomenal, and just the walks and just being in the red sand is also very powerful. So my review is absolutely very much worth it, and I highly recommend all of you to get out here and do it. All right, I'm Chris Stead. Thank you very much for watching. That's my review and personal insight into the experience I've had coming out here to the Red Centre and being with the Aṉangu and enjoying Uluru and everything to do with it. Make sure you check out my other videos. Until next time, back on the road. Yeah.